Oh, jeez. Wow, that... Are you sure that village was only a few miles back? It feels like I've been walking for weeks.
Maybe you have been. Time isn't so set anymore. Sorry about that.
Well, if that's the case, then... Well, I don't remember eating or using the bathroom.
I made a slight adjustment, so I don't think we need to eat anymore. Or poop. Maybe we would poop if we did eat, but poop grosses me out, so I think that's why we don't have to eat.
God, I don't know what's going to be harder to get used to. Time not being fixed, not having to poop, or having a damn alien ghost stuck in my head.
Please don't call me a ghost. And as soon as we get me out of your head, then everything will fix itself. You'll be back to tweeting on the toilet in no time. Or all time. Still trying to get my head around the concept of time. My point is, it should all be fixed after I return to my dimension.
Well, just keep talking, and I'll let you know when your trippy time and space is fraying and reforming talk starts making sense. Speaking of not making sense, this place is a lot more, adorable than I thought it would be.
The bleed from my dimension is stronger the closer we get to the rift. Echoes of our people, our reality, are beginning to etch themselves into the reality here.
And your dimension is an adorable cartoon?
Sometimes. Isn't yours?
Another day, another horror anthology. Here's the last one for 2020's Halloween Horror Spooktacular, DreadX Collection 3. And I have to say right off the bat, I honestly think this is the best DreadX collection yet. I've loved all three of them, but this one just has great presentation and the best overall collection of games in my opinion. Like with the other two DreadX games, this one has a central theme, creating some cohesion between all of these games. The theme for this one is Spoopy. That is cute, but spooky. And all of these games really exemplified that theme. Some were scarier or cuter than others, but all these games fit that theme, and honestly, I was surprised by how much I liked this theme. Like the second DreadX collection, DreadX Collection 3 has an interactive hub world that acts as an all-in-one puzzle exploration game, tells the story connecting not only the games within the collection to each other, but the other DreadX collections together, and a launcher for the individual games in the collection as well. The hub world was created by Akira, the creator of Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. The hub world is a mystical haunted house with spooky paintings, a creepy church, a man-eating plant, a graveyard, and a saxophone. The puzzle challenges weren't quite as challenging as the haunted house from DreadX 2, but the castle was still a lot of fun and I loved the aesthetic of it, and it got darker and creepier as you played the games. I found the story of this DreadX collection to be pretty entertaining as well. It was a little confusing, but it was really funny. It presents some interesting ideas about time and space, predestination, and ghostly possession. It also connects the other two collections together in an interesting way. I really liked it.
Submission. Help Potato the donkey collect apples, meet his friends, and that's pretty much it. Yeah? Oh my gosh, look at this donkey. This potato boy.
The first game I played was Submission, and holy shit, this was a great place to start with this collection. It showcases the spoopy theme so effectively. The juxtaposition of cuteness with scary is so damn good. It left an impact. I don't want to give too much away, but it's kind of hard to talk about this game and, well, all these games without giving some of it away. Anyways, the game starts off looking super cute and cartoony. It's like a farm game with talking animals where you collect apples. The game kind of glitches out and backs out and reveals that you're actually a game dev working on a game. You have to use different code phrases to quote-unquote code in game mechanics and features needed to find objects through the 3 levels. These mechanics include being able to open things up, being able to read things, or being able to pick things up. You can only program one thing at a time, so you need to think about which skill you need going into the game. As you finish developing your game, increasingly scary and weird things happen, and the game ends with the FPS segment. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but this game was awesome. It was bizarre, it was scary, and it was just a lot of fun to play. It subverted my expectations in the best way possible, and overall shows just how effective the juxtaposition of scary and cute elements can be when working together. I really recommend starting with this game because it really sets the tone for the Spoopy going forward.
Fuck apples. Wait, what? Alright, submission was awesome. That was a good way to start this game. That was a lot of fun. It was genuinely, like, scary at times, and the cute factor and, like, the juxtaposition of the two was just perfectly done. I did not know what to expect the entire time. I liked the mechanics of, like, making the game, the shooter at the end. Very good. I really liked that game. Matter over mind. A reverse horror about a coconut and vanilla-scented blob escaping its containment and hijacking the minds of its prey. This sounds pretty cool. Reverse horror. I already played Carrion. Let's keep it going, you know?
Matter Over Mind is a reverse horror game where you play as a coconut vanilla-scented blob of sentient hair product. You're vulnerable and fragile, so you need to get around by taking over people's bodies. Jumping on their heads will let you control them. You need to use people to walk over grates so you don't fall into them and open doors. I did find this game a little frustrating. Dying requires you to start the whole thing over, so I played through the first couple of rooms quite a few times before finally getting a hang of how the game works. And it's also a little buggy. I fell through the floor a couple times, especially in this one area, which was really annoying. Still, it's a fun and simple little reverse horror game. Not quite as intense or extensive as Carrion was, but it's still enjoyable.
So, I liked that one, aside from the jankiness. I liked the art direction a lot. I liked the little monster guy. It was, like Carrion. I liked the reverse horror thing. It's a lot of fun. It was just a little jank, a little glitchy. Some things needed to be ironed out. Like I kept falling through the floor, and the camera was a little weird to couldn't control it. But yeah, other than that, I liked it. Reactor, a short feature in which a meteor impact changes the relationship between you and your robot companion. Kind of looks like Kirby right there, and I'm a big Kirby fan. So if this is anything like Kirby, I will be happy.
Reactor is an atmospheric horror game that takes place on a remote space station on a far-off planet. Your only companion is your computer assistant. Look how cute he is. He looks just like Kirby. You guys are best friends doing research together on the space station. Suddenly, a meteor crashes and you go to investigate. The meteor contains a substance that you have never seen before, and it begins to grow and take over the station. Eventually, it possesses and takes control of your computer partner, who you have to run away from while you're trying to shut down the facility. Gameplay comes down to walking around, finding lore books to read, and performing small tasks around the facility. It's not super heavy on the gameplay, it's mainly an interactive story kind of game, but I still liked it. It was unique, and the relationship between the astronaut and robot is enjoyable. It's actually kind of a sad game, and I really felt bad for the robot by the end.
So I really liked the music for that one a lot. I really liked the art direction and aesthetic a lot. The graphics were really cool. I liked the lighting effects and the particle effects. It was just a really cool looking game. I liked the story. This game didn't have a lot of gameplay to talk about. It was very much so an interactive story set piece. That said, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was an interesting little story. I really liked that robot companion, and I'm so sad about that ending. Alright, so now I got Nice Screams at Funfair. Sell ice cream in an otherworldly funfair. Keep customers happy and nothing bad happens. By Moya. I played a game by Moya. What was it?
Nice Screams at Funfair. This game was so unique and aesthetically pleasing. I loved this intro sequence. It was just so Halloween festive with the music and lighting and effects. It was so fun. It's a really great way to start this game off, and it gets you in the mood for a Halloween spent at a fun park, especially because we can't actually go to any Fright Fests this year.
This is already a really cool looking game. Something like this would be so cool in VR.
So we need to get them filled with ice cream so nobody realizes.
The actual gameplay is an ice cream service sim. Customers show up, you need to give them the ice cream they order, you put money away in the cash register, screw up the order too many times, or pocket the money yourself, and this very watchful robotic cat in the corner will cut you apart with a buzzsaw. The game is short and simple, but I really liked the aesthetic of it. It got me in the mood for some Halloween fun. My only complaint is that the game is kind of buggy and janky at times. Sometimes ice cream won't set in the cone like you want it to, and at one point my game bugged out and I threw the table all over the place. I needed to restart after that. Despite the jank, I liked this one. The aesthetic was amazing, and the music was good too, with this industrial music playing in the background while you scoop. It's just awesome.
What is this badass industrial music? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. Disparity of the Dead. People are dying and not showing up in the afterlife. As the resident dead detective, you have to get to the bottom of this.
Disparity of the Dead is an old-school collectathon platforming game with a mystery game, and it's amazing. You play as a spirit detective, no, not that spirit detective, in the afterlife. Residents of the afterlife are reporting missing people who have died and should be there, but are not. You are tasked with finding enough evidence to secure a warrant and enough soul energy to power a way to transfer you to the land of the living to figure out why people who are dying are disappearing from the afterlife. The core gameplay of this consists of jumping around to different platforms, collecting these soul spheres. As you are jumping around, you also find people to talk to. Talking to them gives clues which could be used as evidence to support your case in getting a warrant. There are also some physical clues laying around which you need to pick up or visit as well. Things like the dying cherry blossom tree or a phone that rings periodically, allowing the listener to hear the person on the other end die. The evidence mechanic is also pretty cool. It gives you incentive to talk to everyone that you can, and once you do, you have this evidence board where you can string together different clues. I really liked this. It was kind of unique and helped distinguish it from just a simple platformer. Once you get the warrant, you visit the land of the living. Some creepy stuff happens before returning to the world of the dead and fading away. Like with Reactor, this game was really sad. It dealt with some heavy themes: death, loss, fear of the afterlife, suicide, and it just ended on such a somber and depressing note.
the fuck is that? Wow. So I really liked that one. I'm a big collectathon 3D platformer guy, so I really liked the gameplay and the collection, and I really liked the mystery aspect, being a detective, finding clues. Really, really good. Really sad. Much more than scary. I felt all of that one face I didn't like. But that was a sad game. Really makes you think about the afterlife and what it means. Yeah, I really like that one. This is a great collection so far. Graveyard Shift at the mysterious Bete Grise Hotel has much to do and much to see.
Bete Grise is an old-school isometric adventure game taking place in a hotel late at night. You play as a cute anime girl hotel clerk tasked with cleaning rooms and making sure the vending machines are all working correctly. Graphically, this game is kind of weird. The main isometric perspective is super lo-fi with basic sprites. You don't even rotate the direction you're facing when moving around. But when it zooms into the action, the game has this pleasant anime aesthetic. It looks pretty detailed with character expressions. Gameplay sees you moving from room to room, floor to floor, picking up clothes and toys, and shaking vending machines. These machines bring up a kind of rhythm minigame of sorts, where you need to hit arrows on time. Eventually, you'll find a key which allows you to go up to the penthouse suites. Once you get up there, you walk in on a cult who are in the middle of performing a ritual, and they sacrifice you. Holy shit, it's so fucked up and sudden. I was not expecting it at all when I first played this. After this, the game becomes a reverse horror game as you hunt down the cultists that killed you as a creepy ghost. Look at these cowards run away from you when you approach them. They had no problem murdering you, but now when you face them, they're running away screaming.
Almost like another reverse horror game where you're the ghost in this case. The twist kind of came out of nowhere for me, at least. But the graphical aesthetic was a little weird to me. It was very low quality sprite work. It had very like old school feel, like almost Flash game feel to it to me. But I liked the core idea of it. It was very unique. And I liked the reverse horror aspect of actually becoming the ghost girl and getting your revenge on the cultists. Soul Waste. Within a lifeless wasteland, the city ruins slumber as an immortal hero embarks on their everlasting quest to kill God. I haven't played this. I don't know why it says game played.
Soul Waste is a low-poly action platforming game. In a lot of ways, it actually reminds me of Sonic Adventure for some reason. You play as an immortal hero on the quest to kill God. Traversing a ruined city, you have to fight enemies, destroy these crystals, collect these gems, and then face off against God. You move really fast in this game. The faster you move, the better your damage output. That's probably why I get a Sonic Adventure vibe from this game. Platforming is a little wonky though. It's a little hard to control, jumps can be a little awkward. It's not horrible and I got used to it pretty quick, but it's not super smooth. Combat is also a little rough. You don't have combos and really only have a few attack animations. It just feels stiff. Just to suggest another similar game for a second, check out Spark the Electric Jester 2 if you played through this and want something else to scratch that Sonic Adventure itch. That said, there are some weird problems with the controls if you're using a controller to play this game. I was using the X91, a Hyperkin controller for the Xbox and PC, and pressing the X button caused this to happen.
Whoa, what? Right. What just happened there? Crashed out of that one.
It's a really weird and steep bug. The final fight with the angel god thing is cool. It's flashy and there's all these bullets. There's also multiple endings. I got the ending for collecting all the gems and falling through this hole. I wasn't able to figure out if you could actually kill the god thing or not that spawned though.
Endings to this. Okay. So, I simultaneously liked and didn't like that one. I liked that one aesthetically. I liked that one from a gameplay perspective. I liked the soundtrack a lot. But it was very tedious. To collect all those crystals, to find everything, it just took me a very long time. I couldn't figure out how to kill that boss at the end, if you could kill that boss. And it just kind of frustrated me doing that. Yeah, outside of the tedium of collecting those things, I like that one quite a bit. So, Sato Wonderland. One of Sato Wonderland's most beloved AI mascots has been acting strangely. Interrogate her to find out what's going on.
The Sato Wonderland amusement park features many AI mascots, characters providing entertainment and education to guests. One of the AIs, Kitsuhime-sama, has been acting weird and even attempted to steal a child. You are tasked with interrogating the AI to figure out what is wrong and must determine whether you can repair the AI or if you must destroy it. The game plays like a visual novel. The questions you ask impact the story unfolding. The questions must be asked by matching key phrases together. If you get a combination of phrases wrong, you won't ask the question. Get the key phrases right, and the story continues. Like with Disparity of the Dead, I like the detective work interrogation mechanic. It makes the dialogue a little more engaging and interesting. As you progress, things get weirder and weirder. The identity of the AIs and their creator is expounded upon, and it all leads to this intense chase scene as you run away from a killer AI. The story gets intense as well and is pretty sad, all things considered. It evolves from a quirky story of a malfunctioning AI in an amusement park to one filled with body horror, tackling topics of the relationship between a mother and her child and how to beat death itself.
Alright, so that was Sato Wonderland, a visual novel with some actual gameplay. So that one was kind of cool. I liked the interrogation aspect of it. It's actually, I wouldn't mind playing a full, like another similar visual novel to that. Maybe with more AIs to interrogate, more things to explore with the theme park, more chase segments. I don't know, it was interesting. It was definitely a unique spin on the visual novel genre that I haven't seen before. Spookware at the video store. Join the Skelebros at their Halloween movie marathon with a collection of blood-pumping horror microgames. I already played the first Spookware for episode 2 of this anthology series. Was a big fan of that. I'm sure I'll be a big fan of this one. I am excited.
Another Spookware game, and it's just as good as the first one. Though the presentation here is even better, and there are more games to play this time around. Spookware at the video store sees 3 skeleton brothers on their way to a video rental store to get some horror movies to watch. Each movie they watch translates to a microgame that you play. Like with the first Spookware, all of these games are only a couple seconds long. You need to complete a certain amount in a row, you only have 3 lives, and there's a boss level once you complete it. This time, games are split into 2 types, keyboard and mouse. The mouse games were all pretty straightforward and easy to figure out. There were a greater variety of mouse games, and they didn't repeat as often. The keyboard ones were a little harder to figure out, and they repeated more frequently. Most I was able to play just fine, but I could not figure out how to do this possession one. and just hoped it wouldn't show up. Finishing both the keyboard and mouse game modes unlocked an endless mode combining the two. As mentioned, this is every bit as good as the first Spookware, and I liked that one a lot. It makes me miss WarioWare, and I hope they keep making Spookware games. A full retail Spookware would be amazing.
So that one wasn't as hard as the first Spookware, but equally as fun and equally as creative. I like it. Makes me miss WarioWare. Love to see more Spookwares made in the future. Good stuff. Eden. Garden of the Faultless. Raise angelic monsters to compete in grand events.
Imagine Neon Genesis Evangelion mixed with the Sonic Adventure Chow Garden. And that's basically what Eden Garden of the Faultless is. It's a pet raising and racing sim. You hatch an angel-like creature called a Faultless from an egg, feed it, show it love, raise its stats, and race it against other Faultless in increasingly more challenging races. The stats for the Faultless include speed, flight, and power. You can have 3 Faultless at once, each one has different base and max stats, so you'll need to sacrifice some Faultless to ensure that you have the very best one that you can get. These things are crazy looking too, definitely a accurate biblical depiction of an angel with like obscured faces, dozens of eyes, giant mouths, bird-like noses. They look kind of cute in this game, but man, these would be terrifying in real life. You don't actually control the Faultless while you race either, but it's so satisfying to see your Faultless beat the others. Between this game and Soul Waste, I really feel like playing Sonic Adventure again.
I'm just going to make a detour to destroy this city on my way to finishing this race. That was a bizarre but enjoyable game. It was basically Evangelion meets Sonic Adventure Chow Garden, where it was basically a Chow Garden, but instead of raising Chow, you were raising angels or creatures called Faultless. But yeah, that's definitely what that was. It was 100% Evangelion meets Chow Garden. Bubbo, Adventure on Geralds Island. Everything is perfect on Geralds Island. Play as Bubbo, exploring and talking to the animal inhabitants in this 3D platformer. I think this is going to be one for the handy-dandy controller here.
Bubbo, Adventure of Geralds Island is a game created by Brogan Hackett, the person behind the haunted PS1. Bubbo is an old-school collectathon 3D platforming game. You play as Bubbo, the purple poo cloud creature who gets stranded on an island. Things are kind of sketchy right off the bat, as the animals living on the island take your boat propellers and make you perform tasks to get them back. These tasks include menial things like collecting coins, killing rats, and harvesting apples, and eventually racing against an evil spirit for a magic medallion. Eventually, you find out that the animals are part of a cult, and they intend to sacrifice you to keep an ancient monster from destroying their island, and you must make your escape. The platforming feels pretty good in this game too. I didn't struggle with any jumps, and the controls felt pretty good and fluid, though the default controls when using a controller had the sprint button attached to L3, and that didn't feel so great. So I definitely recommend swapping it to a face button or a trigger. Once again, the game had some great juxtaposition between the cute things and the weird and disturbing things. Like how graphic killing the rats is. It kind of reminded me of Conker's Bad Fur Day in that way, maybe because it was also a platforming game, but yeah, I liked this one.
I did it. Cha-ching. Brogan Hackett. That's who did the secret game from Haunted PS1 disc. Just saying. Mr. Torple Dook, once again, Chip's Tips. Skip is getting ready to put on a Halloween party at his house tonight with his dog Chip. Can you help him find everything he needs for the perfect spooky celebration?
Hi there, my name's Skip, and welcome to my house. I was just getting ready for my Halloween party tonight. We're gonna have all kinds of snacks, fun costumes, and all my friends are gonna be there, including you. There's a problem though. I forgot where all that stuff is. Even my friends' phone numbers. You know what? Now that you're here, you can help me out. We can look all around the house and find where that stuff is. Come on, let's go find my dog Chip and see if he can help.
Oh my god, this is like a Blue's Clues kids show kind of a thing. Oh my god, this is so fucking funny.
And here we are, the final game, returning third-time veteran Torple Dook with his game Chip's Tips. This game was so fucking good. It's an old-school point-and-click style game. I do love me a good point-and-click adventure. All of the graphics are digitized sprites of real images. It reminds me of Harvester in that way. Chip's Tips is a parody of Blue's Clues. The objective is to get ready to throw a Halloween party. You need to prepare snacks, get a costume, and get the phone numbers for and call the guests to invite them over. The game is hilarious. I just had a smile on my face pretty much the entire time I was playing it. It's so goofy and over the top, it just has so much charm. Exploring every room, meeting the cast of zany characters, and listening to the dialogue is just great. And look how cute Chip is. What a good pup. I didn't find anything too cryptic or complicated in this one. The puzzles and exploration areas were all pretty straightforward. Some areas were just so bizarre and weird though, like the basement. Or this room.
What the heck is this game?
I like that the characters from Torple Dook's other games were guests for this party as well. And what other game is the bee emoji an item that you need to find? Instant classic.
What's poppin'?
This is hilarious. Oh my god.
Help! We really couldn't have done it without you. Well, looks like it's time for us to party. Say bye, Chip.
I recognize the other two from the two DreadX collections. I don't recognize. I didn't recognize that first guy.
Okay, P, you ready to go down/up into the dungeon/dimensional rift?
So that's the house from DreadX 2, huh? That's kind of cool. I really like the fact that there's like a meta story with these things. That isn't just like a little collection of games. There's actually something going on. Brings it all together in a way that's just very fun and creative, and I like it. What the? I'm dead? That's actually pretty cool. That's the end, huh? So, as a whole, I have to say, I think this was the best DreadX collection so far. I really liked it. Every single one of the games were well made. A couple of them had a couple minor hiccups and things I didn't necessarily like about them, but as a whole, I liked pretty much all of them. They were all fun and unique. I'm liking that I'm starting to recognize a lot of names from the Haunted PS1 disc and other DreadX collections, as well as even some of the other indie games I've played, whether it be the Siren Head games from the beginning of the month, or the Let's Plays I did with Dennis. I'm not sure if those will be out or not by the time this video is out, but if it's not, it'll be out soon. But yeah, I'm starting to recognize a lot of names. It's kind of cool. I can see kind of how their these developers' styles are evolving, or just how creative they really are, jumping from style to style. I like it.
And that's that. I've really been enjoying these anthology games that I've been playing. I have a newfound appreciation and liking for all of these developers. I am back into indie horror again. Every single one of these developers and contributors have made a fan out of me, my imaginary hat to all involved in the Haunted PS1 and Dread X communities. Low poly, PS1 style horror is the future. I will continue to talk about horror games, especially Dread X collections or Haunted PS1 games that might come out, but obviously they won't be part of the Halloween Horror Spooktacular for this year. I wanted to review one more game for this year's Spooktacular, Pumpkin Jack, but I simply ran out of time. I am still going to play the game, and if I think it's worth talking about, I'll still make a video for it, but obviously it won't be part of this playlist. With that said, I am going to take a little bit of a break from horror games for a little while, and my uploads are going to slow back down to the way they were before October. We do have 2 more videos to come out, a compilation of 8 indie horror games that both me and Dennis played together, split into 2 parts, but this really concludes the Halloween Horror Spooktacular for this year. So happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you enjoy these videos, and I hope you enjoy the next 2 videos as well. Still, something released a week ago that I feel compelled to talk about, something that has not gotten the attention it deserved because I have been busy talking about horror games, but it's finally time.
To talk about the ancient gods.